So your axolotl have been breeding and there's loads of eggs, but how can you tell if they're fertilised or unfertilised? Well, luckily enough with axolotl it's actually really easy once they're a couple of days old. Once they've had a couple of days to start developing, it's very easy to tell whether they're developed or not. Now my axolotl have been breeding like crazy the last little while. I'm after pulling probably about 200 eggs out of the system, and it seems to be the case that most of them have been fertilised, but I did spot one just now that isn't fertilised, which gives me a good opportunity to show you the difference between fertilised and unfertilised because they're right beside each other. And I keep my guys in this pond out here. It's an outdoor pond. It's beside some of my other ponds, and it's insulated and I can heat it over the winter, and that's grand. They love it. Lots of space to walk around. There's about 17 adult, well, 4 adults, and the rest 13 are about, they're sub-adults. They're only little small guys, super chunky, having a great old time. But I'm after moving some eggs up into this system. Now I don't have it super deep yet or anything like that. It doesn't need to be. The eggs are just developing. There are some free swimming, but for the moment there's only a couple of those. The rest of them are still developing. Now there's 2 batches here because mom laid 2 batches of eggs. She released 2 batches of eggs, I should say, and the first batch are starting to free swim, but the second batch are just developing here now. And I'll give you a look at these guys. They're the cutest little things. Those are axolotl eggs which are starting to develop, and you can see they've got a long look. And if you look at that guy right in the center, he's a slightly bigger bump on one end and it curves down into a little tiny sharp point. That's his tail, and the bigger bump is his head growing and where his gills will come from. Now if we go over just across here, we can see that we've got 2 which are starting to get that long shape, but one which is just still a big white blob. If after a couple of days there's still a big white blob like that one there, that is not fertilised and it's not developing. Whereas these guys here right beside it, fertilised and developing, and you can actually even see he's starting to get that slightly golden colour, which is super cute. Now that egg there won't actually cause any trouble. I found axolotl eggs are quite different from goldfish eggs and stuff like that because the outer case that they're in stops them from going nasty and rotten. And what I've actually found is some of the axolotl, as they're grown up and developing, they might end up eating those, which is not the end of the world at all. Baby axolotl are hungry axolotl, so they'll eat a lot as they're growing up, and the more nutrients we can get them, the better. This is already seeded with things like Daphnia, and there's insect larvae and stuff in here, little small guys that won't cause them any harm, that they can go around and munch on and eat. I had a live culture set up and ready to go for these. I always have some live Daphnia cultures as well for some of the smaller fish that I raise. It's just really good for them to be able to start eating the minute that they feel hungry. And it's the same for goldfish or any other fish as well. When they're babies, when they're really young, that's when they're going to grow the most. That's when they need the most fuel for growth and development. So making sure that they have that there available for them 24/7. I don't like the idea of baby fish being hungry, any babies being hungry, axolotl included, and like that. They need food and fuel for growth and development when they're young if they're going to be the most fully developed and healthy adults that they can be as well. But that's it. I just wanted to show you a little look. If it's a couple of days in and it hasn't turned into, starts off in a kind of a kidney bean shape and then it starts getting longer and starts looking like a tiny little axolotl, super cute. If it's still a couple of days in, or if it's still round after a couple of days in, chances are it hasn't been fertilised. It's not the end of the world. You can take them out. The eggs are quite robust, so you can usually separate them away from each other, but if in doubt, just leave it in and it won't cause any trouble. That's it, guys. That's how you can tell if your axolotl eggs are fertilised, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.